9 signs of a toxic relationship. According to an old fable, there was once a scorpion that needed to get across a river. So he asked a frog if he would carry him across. The frog was suspicious, worrying that the scorpion would sting him. The scorpion promised he wouldn't, as if he stung the frog while they were crossing the river, then they would both sink and drown. With this, the frog agreed to help, and the scorpion climbed onto his back. They made it about halfway across the river when suddenly, the scorpion stung the frog without warning. As they both began to sink, the frog asked the scorpion why he broke his promise. To which the scorpion replied, "It's in my nature." Before we continue, subscribe to Bestie and click the notification bell to stay up to date on all our daily videos and content. The story of the scorpion and the frog has been read in a number of different ways, but one clear moral takeaway is this: there will always be people out there who are more than willing to take advantage of the helplessness of others, and more often than not end up dragging anyone who tries to help down along with them. Just like how the scorpion ends up dragging the frog down to the bottom of the river. According to Diane Dreher of Psychology Today, people who show no respect for boundaries and manipulate others for help are known as covert aggressors. Dreher warns that the signs of a covert aggressor might not be immediately obvious at first. Like the scorpion who charmed the frog into a free ride, these toxic individuals often know just the right thing to say in order to get what they want. They might be charming and sweet, or they might make themselves appear so needy and helpless that you can't not offer them assistance with whatever it is they want or need. Either way, these individuals are often not the types of people you would expect to be aggressors. And by the time you start to see the warning signs, they've already got you completely roped into a toxic relationship. Chances are you may have already been in a relationship like this before, but you might not have identified it as being toxic at the time. It could have been something as simple as a classmate who constantly makes excuses for not contributing to an important group assignment. Or something as serious as a long-term romantic partner who tried to keep you under control through guilt tripping and emotional abuse. By being able to identify the most common warning signs and red flags of a covert aggressor, you can start employing strategies of your own in order to protect yourself from getting sucked into their manipulators. In his 2010 bestseller, In Sheep's Clothing, Understanding and Dealing with Manipulative People, Dr. George Simon writes about the various tactics and schemes that covert aggressors frequently use in order to take advantage of others and get what they want. Simon identifies at least 9 common tactics from the average covert aggressor's playbook, which you can watch out for if you suspect that someone is taking advantage of you. Number 1. Seduction. Aggressors can charm their way into your heart with kind words and flattery, preying on a person's need for approval by telling them all the things they know they want to hear. At one point or another, you've probably received a random compliment from a pushy salesman or a recruiter on the street, hoping that buttering you up with positive remarks will make you more inclined to stop and listen. The same is true for people who pull others into toxic relationships, attempting to say just the right things in order to convince their unknowing targets to comply. Number 2. Lying. Manipulative people often try to get what they want by twisting the truth, either by telling outright lies or by being intentionally vague, omitting key information that might otherwise inform a different opinion in the other person. Also known as gaslighting, aggressors may distort the truth in a way that makes their victim feel confused, disoriented, or begin to doubt their own perception of a situation. Number 3. Denial. Tying in with their tendency to lie, don't expect an aggressor to admit to their wrongdoing anytime soon. When cornered, a would-be aggressor will deny, deny, deny. How dare you accuse me of taking advantage of your help? I would never do such a thing. I thought we were friends. Number 4, selective inattention. Have you ever sent an important, time-sensitive email to a friend, classmate, or coworker only to get no response? When you confronted them, they simply responded with a shrug, telling you in plain terms that they never received it. While it could be that their internet was down that day, it is also likely a sign of selective inattention, a manipulative tactic in which a person deliberately brushes you off by actively ignoring your requests and messages. Number 5, diversion. If lying and denial aren't enough to throw you off the trail, expect a covert aggressor to attempt to cover his tracks by quickly changing the subject in order to distract you. Manipulative people often try to control the flow of a conversation by avoiding things they don't want to answer or talk about, quickly switching tracks in order to throw the other speaker off course. It might be something to keep an ear out for the next time you're watching an important debate. Number 6, guilt. In addition to shifting the topic of conversation, covert aggressors also love to shift the blame. When manipulating others, people who form toxic relationships often deflect or project their own flaws or failings onto the other person, using their conscience and feelings of guilt in order to control their thoughts and actions. Number 7, shaming. In addition to guilt, manipulators and aggressors will often attempt to wear you down through sarcasm, criticism, and other belittling tactics in order to make you feel shameful or inadequate. With enough whittling down through these verbal insults, the aggressors hope that you will become passive enough in order to give in to their controlling demands. Number 8, playing the victim. Why are you getting mad at me for this? If you weren't paying attention, it's clearly me who's the one suffering the most right now. Aggressors love to exaggerate their own problems in order to exploit others for sympathy points. After all, if you feel sorry for someone, that makes you more likely to want to help them out, right? Try not to get sucked in by anyone who immediately plays the "woe is me" card whenever they ask you for help. Number 9, feigning ignorance or confusion. Remember how we said aggressors love to be in denial? Playing dumb or innocent is another way aggressors try to hide their true colors, making you doubt whether or not they're really the one to blame. By pretending they don't know what you're talking about, manipulative people can often deflect the blame that's been rightfully directed at them and come out of confrontations smelling like roses. So now you know some of the most common red flags when it comes to identifying potentially toxic relationships. But what can we do with this information? How can we prevent ourselves from falling into the same manipulative traps time and time again? Well, according to both Dreyer and Simon, the first step is to become more aware of the ways in which the traps are set. And one of the ways you can do that is by working on your mindfulness. The next time you find yourself in a situation where you think someone is trying to manipulate you, the first thing you should ask yourself is, how am I feeling? And label those feelings accordingly. You might feel angry, or guilty, or confused, and so on. By labeling our feelings during a particular experience, we alter the way in which our minds perceive and process it, allowing us to stay focused and look at the problem with a more nuanced perspective. From there, you can decide what you choose to do. And don't give them the satisfaction of letting yourself fall for their manipulative tactics and behavior. If you think that the other person is a danger to others or themselves, then report it to the proper professionals as you normally would, such as 911 or a suicide prevention hotline. While you may be an altruist with a desire to help others, it is also important to honor your own feelings and boundaries and avoid turning yourself into a martyr. Like the scorpion in the fable, sometimes a person is naturally inclined to manipulate others into getting what they want, which can often end in disaster for everyone involved. If you've been a victim of toxic relationships before, or if you think you're running the risk of becoming part of one, it is important to know how to recognize the most obvious warning signs, as well as to know how to deal with them. Do you have anything you'd like to add about this topic? Are you comfortable with sharing your own personal stories and experiences with others? If so, why not leave a comment below and keep the conversation going? And remember, stay safe out there, frogs. Enjoyed this video? Hit the like button and share with your friends. Also, subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.